and welcome to my studio. I'm Noemi from Pyjama, and can you guess what I'm making today? That's right, we're making pajamas. Every winter I wear Flannelette pajamas, and last year I couldn't find any that were thick enough, and I decided, well, why don't I make my own? How cute are giraffes? I've washed and dried this, so hopefully if it was going to shrink, it's done it now. And I actually have made pajama pants in school textiles before, but I haven't made a top like this before, so it might be a bit complicated. We'll see how we go. So I haven't made anything with buttonholes in school. I don't remember how to do buttonholes, so we'll work it out together. I may have to call my mum. I do have a different sewing machine as well, and it's got a different foot, so it has its own buttonhole foot, which I don't understand, but maybe YouTube will come in as well. We'll see.
Hey guys, editing Noemi here. I've just popped on to say I'm sorry about the quality of my video. I had some issues with some overexposing. Hopefully it doesn't appear too much when I've edited most of it out, but we'll see.
Welcome to my floor. I had to vacuum in order to do this video. Hope you appreciate that, because I don't like vacuuming very much, but if you're planning on sewing, having a nice big floor space is going to be a really good idea.
As you can see here, I'm not using a pattern. I'll be using my pajamas as a pattern. Here I had to just make sure that the elastic was nice and taut so that I actually got the right shape. The fabric is folded over, so I'm getting two pieces, and I'm currently cutting out the front part of the leg. And for the elastic, because we'll be folding that over a lot, I need to give myself a lot more room, which is what I was just doing then. For the crotch area, I just needed to fold it in a different way so that I could get the shape of it, otherwise I wasn't going to get that J shape. If you're not an experienced sewer and you don't do patterns out of your old clothes, I definitely recommend using an actual pattern, because as you'll see further along, I actually made a mistake. I'm now cutting out the back legs. It's a little bit more complicated to cut out the back because there's more fabric there, so I had to cut one side and then I had to readjust the fabric so that I could actually cut the other side at the correct spot, because at the moment it was just folded over underneath. That's what I'm doing here. And here I'm redoing the same thing for the crotch. This is where I make the mistake and I forget to tauten the elastic while I'm cutting, so I end up with not enough fabric. And this is the moment I realized that I made the mistake. Now it's time to start sewing. I got one front piece and one back piece, and I'm putting the right sides together on the short side, which is the inside of your leg seam.
Want to know something really annoying? This is the color I'm using. These are the colors on my bobbins. This is a white, it's not the same color. Yep, I'm gonna have to make some more bobbin thread.
So here I've got both pieces. I'm going to put them together, right sides together again, and I will be sewing along the crotch area, which is that big U shape there. You'll want to take your time to do the sewing here because you need to follow the curve of the fabric, so don't go too fast and just keep readjusting.
Okay, we have a slight issue. When I was cutting the fabric, I forgot to stretch the elastic around the waist of the back, and like it's fitting and I think I can get it over my bum, but it's going to be one of those every time I put them on and off I have to be careful. So I think I might just cut out another couple of pieces, just about this much, and just add it between front and back piece.
So I had this piece of fabric left over and I just gave it a cut in half to give me two pieces. What I ended up doing is tapering it in at the one end so that it would be longer at the top and shorter at the bottom. If you didn't make the mistake, this would be the time where you would sew the two long sides together. What I'm doing is just adding that bit of fabric on at the top, and then I will be sewing the bottoms together.
Yeah, now it's too much. I need to do about half that amount. And it'll actually probably be easier to join them up here if it's half of it.
Here I'm just reducing the amount of the fabric I put on the sides. I'm not going to show it all, but just to give you an idea. While I was sewing, I decided to hem the bottoms. I didn't actually need to take them up at all, so the length it was already is what I went for.
Okay, so I've done the legs, as you can see, and then I've hemmed the bottoms. I just need to do the waist now. I'm going to be using this elastic to do a hem, a little one like that, and then a nice thick one over. And then you always want to leave a little gap here because that's where you'll be passing the thread through. So I've done this. Now, this is where I tell you the importance of using a pattern rather than your own pajamas, because, see this? If I'd used a pattern, it would tell me what line you need to make parallel with the selvage so that you don't get weird folds like this in your fabric. I think it's called the grain. Fabrics have a line that is at 45-degree angle to the selvage where it is more stretchy than in the other ways. This way, no stretch. This way, no stretch. This way, see that? So patterns will always tell you a line to follow that you put parallel to the selvage edge so that you don't end up with weird shapes like mine. I am lazy and stingy. I didn't want to spend money on a pattern, so don't be like me. Get a pattern. Also, it'll save you from making mistakes like I did with the elastic when I was cutting, and like, it'll save you a lot of time. I've left an opening here And I have this. Yep. Then it's a really good idea to pin the edge that you're not threading through. I'm going to be pinning it here. Just so that when I'm threading it, the other edge through, this one's not going to follow along and, you know, have to start all over again. If you know the basics of sewing, but you don't feel like you want to cut into a fabric because you worry you're going to ruin it, or you just don't think you're good enough to make a piece of clothing that you're going to wear outside, pajama pants, pajama tops, very easy thing to make. And like, who's going to see them? You, your partner, your roommate, you know. So that's what I recommend, just starting there. So next thing you need to do is make sure the elastic hasn't twisted in there, because that's fairly uncomfortable, and you know, you want to be comfortable in your PJs. Tie that up just quickly to here, same spot, so that I can double check that it hasn't twisted. Again, make sure you're not twisting it as you do it.
When I'm sewing up an elastic, I always like to sew a rectangle into the elastic so that I'm sure it's not going to get undone, and I do go backwards and forwards as well for extra strength. Once I've finished up with the elastic, I sew up the little opening.
Now you want to chop off all the bits of thread all over the place, and then now done. So there you go. It's not great, but like, you know, it's good enough for sleeping in. Okay, so now for the top. So I think I'll do this bit there first, then this bit here, so there, then I'll sew the sleeve on, and then it'll just be a matter of doing the edges and the buttonholes.
So it's the same process as before with the cutting. What I actually did here was fold the top in half and then put some pins in the halfway mark, and then I put that halfway mark against the fold, so it gives me a symmetrical piece once I unfold it.
So bad news, I've run out of fabric. So I have a back and I have enough fabric to do 2 arms, or I have enough fabric to do 1 arm and 1 of the front sides. There's a spotlight near my work.
Hey guys, so it's a week later and I bought another 1.5 meters of this flannelette fabric. I already have the back cut out, so I just need to cut out the 2 fronts and the sleeves. Here I'm cutting out the sleeve. I'm cutting it on the fold again. I didn't think that one through very well, and I ended up using a lot more fabric than I needed to if I'd put the fold somewhere else. And I'm cutting now the 2 front pieces. Again, it's folded over, so I'm getting 2 out of the 1 cut. I've also decided to keep the selvage, as I don't have to zigzag that side, as it's not going to fray. I now have a back piece, 2 front pieces, and my sleeves. I'm now pinning the back piece to the front piece and putting the right sides together as usual. So I'm actually kind of impressed with how my cutting skills and following the pyjamas, because all I'm doing is following off the pyjama, like they haven't been unpicked or anything like that, and I'm just adding my sort of guessed seam allowance. But look at this, this is the front, sorry, yeah, this one's the front shoulder bit and this one's the back shoulder bit, and when you put them together they're exactly the same length. I was expecting to have to sort of play around with it and hope that for the best, but pretty happy with that. Just pinning the shoulders together of the front and the back piece, and then on the other side I'll do the same, and then I'll sew that. I think I'll do that off camera. I'm just going to put this on so we can see how it looks. Okay, so this is fine. It's a bit big, but it's pyjamas. I like comfortable pyjamas. So now for the sleeves. They're currently folded in half because I cut on the fold, so don't forget to do that. I need to put them inside out like that, and I'll be sewing along this hem. So it's the sleeve bit, and this is the bit that I'll be attaching here. I will be sewing along where the pins are, doing this zigzag stitch. Anywhere there's a raw edge, I'm doing a zigzag stitch. I finish the sleeves off camera, outside out, so normal way. You're still putting right sides together, but because the inside of it is the sleeve, it needs to be the right way in. This way will be, this bit will be wrong sides up, but this one will be right side up. Oh, this is not matching up at all. I was patting myself on the back before because it was matching up so beautifully, but this is too big. What have I done wrong? Anyway, it's alright. It'll just have little folds in it when it's sewing, but... So that's the front, that's the back, that's the top of the shoulder, and that's the armpit. So it's a bit awkward to sew around the sleeve area, but just take your time and just readjust as you need, you know. I've done this the dodgy way. I would rather have fixed it up properly, but I need to get this video out by tomorrow, so I don't want to have another week of no video like I did last week. I'm just going to dodgy it up. I'm going to finish this off camera. Now attach the sleeves to the top. Let me try it on so we can see how it fits and get a better idea of what it's gonna look like. It's rather big. Luke's gonna make fun of me again because my pants, he thinks, are far too big, so now I made a far too big top to match. So it's a bit on the larger side. The sleeves will be smaller because I'm going to do a hem. I think what I'll do with this is give it a bit more of a V shape. So let's just pretend it's like this and like this. That's probably what it'll end up looking like. So I'm going to cut off the neckline so it's a V. I think if I cut it, pin them together and cut them at the same time, it should be at least symmetrical. I think let's just call it here. This will be where over here where the pin is, from here to here. So there you go, I've cut this much. Snipped. Hem on the sleeves, let's just start there. That's where we're starting. This kind of hem is called a rolling hem. I won't show you me sewing it up because I have already shown you plenty of footage of me sewing. This is the neckline.
It's a fairly long necktie and starts on one side all the way there until here. So I'm going to actually do a zigzag stitch the whole way. I think it'll just be easier that way. Do a zigzag stitch and then I'll fold it over and then do a straight stitch the whole way along. I think it's time for the sides. I think what I'll do is leave a fairly large gap. I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to sew it really close to the fold. The buttonholes and the buttons, which will be in the middle, will hold it down. That's what's happening with here. It's got the fold here. It's got the buttonholes here. Buttons here and then the buttonholes on the other one over there. Once I've done this, I'll do the same with the other side, and then I'm not going to stop and explain. I'll do the same with the hem on the bottom. Then I'll come back and we'll try and work out these buttonholes together. Here's my button collection. If you're ever throwing out a buttoned shirt, button-up shirt, keep the buttons. This way you get multiples of the same button, which I'm having a lot of trouble finding. I think I found 5 very similar ones. They're bigger than, you know, what you would normally use. This is sort of the size and colour I was hoping to go for. But I'm happy with these. It'll look kind of cute with big buttons. This one right now, I can actually use my hands because the machine's doing it all for me. What I've just discovered is I thought it would start at the top of my line and then go downwards towards me, but it did it the other way around, so that is a very good thing to know. Okay, I think it's telling me it's done. It looks done to me. I'll just show you both sides. So this is what I mean. I'd actually started it on the top thinking it would come down, then to up and down, but it actually went upwards. So that's a really good thing to know. So I went on YouTube and found out how you do a buttonhole, and it's very easy. So I was dreading this for no reason. It's super easy. These were my practice one, but I will maybe make a video one day about this later. Now I just have to decide where I want my 5 buttons. I need one at the top, and I think the bottom one needs to be about this far off from the bottom. And then it's all about spacing it out evenly from there. Okay, I've put a pin on every 8. Alright, we're back. So I've done all the buttonholes. I don't know how I managed this, but I didn't. I did 6 buttonholes and I have 5 buttons. But anyway, they're all here. All the 5 bottom ones are evenly spaced, and then these 2 are not. I'm not sure what I did, but I think I'll just ignore this one. That can be a decorative buttonhole, and then do the evenly spaced ones with buttons. Here, one here. I'm putting it in the middle of where the buttonhole is. I don't know if you can see it. Yes. I'll speed this up because it's pretty easy, but I've then sewed on the buttons. Thank you so much for watching my video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and you learnt a thing or two. I can't get over how easy it was to do the buttonholes. What do you think of my pajamas? I have a few reservations with them. It's a little bit uncomfortable here, so I might see if I can fix it up a little bit. And I think I'll be fixing up here as well. But first I want to wear them and make sure it's a problem before I do any more fixing. Feel free to make your own and send it through to my Instagram account if you followed my tutorial. Last weekend when I ran out of fabric, I actually made another sewing video. That's already made, it's ready to go, but I'm holding on to it for next time that I am feeling sick or I'm too busy on the weekend to post a video. So that's my backup video, so you'll probably be seeing it in a few weeks time, I guess. Give this video a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos, and we'll see you next week.